artists, welcome back to Art at Home with Mrs. Kellogg. Well, you probably remember from the last video, we learned about collage and shape, that really important element of art. Well, today we're going to have even more fun learning about all the different shapes and how to use them in drawing. So, meet me over at my workspace, and I'm going to tell you about today's lesson and the materials you will need. So for our lesson today, we're going to create dancing birds and falling leaves. And as I said before, we're going to have fun using a lot of different shapes today. So if you notice the beak of the bird, we're going to use a triangle. The body here is a circle. This one's more like an oval. This wing, these feathers are ovals. Here I've got a triangle and an oval combined. The leaf, triangle, and oval. So we're going to use a lot of different shapes, and we're also going to use the element of art line. You can see that in the legs and feet. So now let me tell you the materials you will need for our project today. So we're going to start by drawing with pencil. So you want to make sure you have a couple of pencils that are sharpened and an eraser. So again, I make sure that I've got a pencil sharpener close by. Now, you can use we're going to be tracing after we draw, so you could use a black crayon or a black marker. Make sure that it's a thin marker, like maybe a Sharpie. If you have colored pencils, you could even trace with a black colored pencil. After that, we're going to go to color. So you have a choice. You could use crayons, you could use colored pencils or markers. So that choice is up to you. And if you're a person that's like, I don't like drawing circles freehand, which means you don't have a template, if you have a jar or a lid, see, I can just place that down and I could use my pencil to draw around that. So you could always use a jar or a lid to help you make circles if you don't like drawing freehand. Okay, so those are our supplies, and the last thing I wanted to tell you, of course, we're going to need paper, and you want to make sure that you have newspaper and art mat down so you don't get your art supplies all over your table. Okay, so I'm going to let you pause the video now, get your supplies, and then meet me back here and we'll start drawing. Did you get your materials? Great, let's get started. Okay, so as I said before, we're going to create these 3 dancing birds. So I'm going to use a circle in each one of those to start. Now, I'm going to start with the middle one first, so I know if I draw that first, I'm going to have enough space on either side. But remember, you know, if you want to just do 2 birds or just one big one, that's your choice. But I am going to show you how to do 3. So now I'm going to place a little guideline here and a little guideline there, because I want to have my shapes big so I can fit plenty of, I can get a lot of color in the shapes. So now, when I do this, you're going to notice I don't even draw in the beginning. I kind of go round and round. And what I'm doing is I'm telling my brain the shape that I'm going to make. So I want to make that circle. And don't worry if it's not a perfect circle, because that usually will give your artwork more character or personality. So now I've sketched that in. That means I'm drawing really lightly. So you notice I had to go around quite a few times till I got the shape I like. Now I'm going to go over that line a little heavier so you can see it. So now I have that. And now I'm going to place one here, and this one I'm probably going to make it more oval-like. So you could make them all the same size, use all the same shapes, or maybe you want to try some different shapes, and maybe you have one big one, one that's smaller. So decide how you'd like to design your picture. Okay, and then I'm going to place another one over here. Okay, so now I have my 3 shapes. For me, you know, I can comfortably fit 4 fingers in there. I know I'm going to get a lot of color in that shape. It's nice and big. This one, 3 fingers and 3. So those are pretty good sizes. Okay, now my next part is, this is the fun part. We're going to be putting the eyes and the beak in. So what I want to show you is that you can have choices with the face and the direction the beak is pointing. So let me show you how to do that. On this paper, I'm going to show you how to change the direction of the head. So now I have my circles done. So let me show you how you can do this. So if I want the bird to be looking in this direction, that's where I place the beak. Okay? And then I'm going to place the eyes right there. Okay? So now over here, maybe if I want the bird looking straight at me, see how triangle, rainbow line, and they're looking right at me. If I want the bird to look straight up, I just put it right at the top of the shape, and then they're looking up. And then if I want them looking sideways, I do that. And if I want this bird, see, look, I could even have the bird looking down if I wanted to. Okay? So you have a lot of choices. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my paper and start putting those faces in. Okay, so my next step comes the legs. I want to put the legs in, and then I'll add the wings, and you can add the tail if you'd like. Okay, so now let me show you how you can have a lot of fun with the legs. Okay, so say I draw a shape like so. Okay, so I'm going to use line for the legs, but if I just put straight legs like so, then the bird's just going to be standing still. Okay, now with the feet, I'm going to think triangle. And the direction that the open part of the triangle is in, that's the direction the bird is standing. So for example, see how I have this foot turned? So the open part of the triangle shows the direction. Okay? So maybe I've got something like that. Okay? Now, here's where it gets fun, because I'm going to show you how to create movement. So I'm going to use one line, and then I'm going to bend that line, and that automatically shows movement. So see, if I do this, and then I bend the line up, it looks like the bird's running. So, and then I triangle, the open parts showing the direction. Okay. So see that, how fun that can be? Okay. Now, maybe I'm going to have one leg on an angle, and then one leg down like so. So anytime I bend that line, basically I'm putting 2 lines together, making an angle, it's going to show movement in the leg. And that's how I'm going to get my action. So see how that's bent, and then this is kind of acting as that anchor leg. So see, if you want the bird to squat, see how I have it going out like this. So you can even just have a session where you draw the shapes and play around with the different ways that you can bend the legs. Is kind of fun. So now I have the legs done. So now the next part is putting the wings in. So let me show you how to do that. Again, you've got a lot of choices, because you can have wings where I've got triangle, oval. You could just have triangle wings, or you might like this idea where, see, I go down, there's one skinny oval, another skinny oval, and another skinny oval, and then I kind of come out like that. So I can use that for the tail and the wings. So for example, I can curve up, that's showing the direction and the action of the wing, and then I'm thinking triangle. See, this is what a triangle into an oval would look like. Now you probably notice I drew over that shape. So if I do that, I want to make sure I erase the line out. So now it looks like that wing's in front. And then if I want to put a tail in, I'm kind of thinking triangle, and then I'm going to put that feather idea in there. So here's another idea. And again, you can put wings in or not put wings in. You can put a tail in, or maybe you like it without the tail. You decide. Okay, so now I'm ready to continue working on mine. So the more I curve my line, the more movement I'm going to create. And I want to get rid of that line. I want it to make the wing look like it's in front. I might add some more of those. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do is I want to put what's called a grounding line. So that's going to show the ground. So if you want them in the air, you don't need to put that in. So now I'm ready to trace. Okay, so now I've traced my birds. So I'm ready to add those falling leaves. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do those. So to do falling leaves, starts with line, and you want to curve your line. So for example, curved line, then I'm going to think triangle. So it almost looks like an arrow. And then I'm going to think oval, and I'm just going to connect it. Okay? So curve, here's my arrow, connect. Curve, there's my arrow, and then I connect. Curve, there's my arrow, okay, and then see, that's going to be lying flat on the ground, and there's my arrow, and then I'm going to connect. So that's how I do my falling leaves. Okay, so now I'm ready to add to my picture. And the main thing to remember when you're creating your art is if your art doesn't look like anybody else's, that's a good thing. You want it to look original. So I'm going to trace these in marker so you can see them. And then after that, I'm going to go to color. I finished coloring my birds and leaves. So that is our lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And always remember, relax, have fun, and keep creating.